Welcome to Section 4, Handling Async Data with Actions. In this first video, we're going to talk about using actions, but we're going to go into some more detail here since it's important to know when you would want to use actions, especially instead of mutations. We'll start out by talking about what actions can do. Actions can be asynchronous. Mutations are synchronous, simple changes. Actions, on the other hand, can call asynchronous functions and even return promises if necessary. Let's look at an example of calling an asynchronous function from an action. Alright, so I'm in a new Vue CLI project that I created especially for this. And as usual, we're going to start in store.js. So the first thing we're going to do is create the state. So we're going to have a couple of properties, the current user name and the current user phone number. And I'll create some mutations to change those. And the same thing for the phone number. Okay, those look good. They're pretty basic, just typical mutations where we're just setting a property. And the next thing that we're going to do is get the data. So I'm going to install a package called Faker from npm. And I'll let that work in the background. And then I'm going to just import it. And let's create our actions. So we're going to have actions for updating the username and updating the user phone number. And both of those are going to make async calls to get the username or the phone number and then call the corresponding mutation. So remember that for actions, we have this context object here. And here we're just using destructuring to get the commit method. So I created a helper async timeout function, which takes in whatever you want to resolve with, and then returns it after 500 milliseconds. So here I'm going to pass in a random name that's generated by the Faker plugin. So this promise is going to resolve after 500 milliseconds. So once it resolves, we're going to take the name and then run the commit. And for the phone number, it's similar. So this time we're going to pass in a random phone number. It's going to resolve after 500 milliseconds with the number. And then we'll commit the mutation. Okay, that's it. So now let's just create a way to access this from the UI. Alright, so this UI is pretty much empty right now. It's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to have a button and then a display that has the number and the name. And let's go check it out. So reload and get the name, and it gets it. Oh, I did a typo there. There. Okay, now let's try it. If we check the dev tools, you can see that we have all those commits there. And as usual, we can time travel back to look at the state and revert to different states. So we have all that nice Vuex debuggability, even though there's still async stuff going on.